It's kind of hard to imagine finding a battery that can handle 1,000 watts worth of power and have such a weird shortcoming that it just kind of makes me dislike it completely. Like, it's not bad, but it's just a little weird. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and in today's video I'm covering the OKMO G1000. This is a 1,000 watt solar battery generator. I've covered a lot of these types of devices on this channel because I have a weird obsession with backup battery power. I don't know why. So OKMO, I'm just gonna call it OKMO moving forward. OKMO reached out to me and asked me to review this unit. And my first impressions were, holy bananas, it looks really nice. Got the nice, rugged feel, look. It's just, I like it. But it didn't take long for me to realize that there were just a few weird quirks that I don't really prefer. But before I jump into that, let's talk about those juicy specs. The OKMO G1000 is a 1,000 watt portable power station, and it provides capacity of up to 1,110 watt hours. That's 30,000 milliamp hours. And they claim, of course, depending on your usage, it can provide you with up to 2 to 3 days of power supply in the case of sudden emergency outages. Now, this device actually works fantastic for charging mobile devices, things like tablets, your phones, etc. It has a very high powered DC out to quick charge any of your mobile devices that supports higher wattage charging. Depending on the coffee machine, you can run things like a coffee machine, charge drones, mini projectors, mini refrigerators, etc. It has flexible charging options. You can plug it into the wall, you can plug it into your car, you can plug it into a solar panel. Which, by the way, for this review, OKMO did send me over a solar panel. Now, the thing about this solar panel is it is only 100 watts, which is fine. It would have been nice to have two of them so I can link them together, but no big deal. 100 watts. Now, if you've actually used solar panels to charge batteries, you know that like even though this says 100 watts, like you have to have a very perfect scenario to get anywhere close to 100 watts. I've tested this on multiple days, and the peak I was able to get out of it was 70 watts on charging. And you know, I guess that's kind of par for the course when it comes to solar panels. But 70 watts of charging, you really want to get two of them. That way you can charge this thing at 140 watts. Because if you're going to be using it for something, you want to be able to outcharge whatever you're using in the field. Like, let's say a portable refrigerator, for example. Those can pull anywhere between 40 to 60 watts, and you want to make sure that you have it charged up and you're out charging that and then saving a little bit of battery power for at night when you want the camping lights on. And the funny thing is that because of one of the weird quirks of this battery, in order for me to measure this solar panel's charging capacity, I had to hook it up to a Jackery Explorer 1000. I'll explain a little bit more on that in the future. But overall, when it comes to this solar panel, it's very, very nice. I mean, nice crystal clear solars. It's very sturdy. It's easy to carry around, super lightweight, and overall I really like it. And the connections that come with it, although it doesn't have those basic connections, it has kind of a different connection. You know, forgive me for not knowing what these are called, but it has these right here, but it also has a few different DC inputs. That way you can plug it into a multitude of devices, including a Jackery Explorer 1000 without any kind of adapters or anything like that. And on the back, you also get a USB Type-C and a USB Type-A plug-in if you want to directly charge a phone without the use of a battery. Not to mention on the back, it comes with a very easy way to prop it up to help better get the angle of the sun so you can absorb more energy. Overall, solar panel's pretty nice, although again, solar panels, it says 100 watts, you're usually gonna get 60 to 70, and the testing that I did where I got the B-roll was actually like peaking out about 55 to 60. However, that was kind of later in the day, so I really didn't get its peak wattage on camera. Moving on to the OKMO G1000 1,000 watt solar power generator, whatever catchphrases you want to use. The first thing I usually try to do with these things is overload it. And that usually incorporates me taking things like heat guns or, you know, space heaters, things like that, things that draw a lot of power and require constant power, and they could really overload a battery fairly quickly. I'm not really sure if I like this feature or not, but when I was trying to overload this power with something that would draw roughly around 1,300 watts, this thing would actually regulate the wattage output and pretty much underpower the space heater to hover around 1,000 watts. So instead of turning off or overheating or something like that, it just kind of regulated it and it kept it from overloading, which a big part of me thinks, hey, that's a cool safety feature. That way somebody doesn't overload, their battery and start a fire or anything like that. It's actually a really great feature. But when I tried to get it to peak up, it didn't really want to peak over the 1,000 watts. I think I saw it peak a little bit, like 1,100 watts or something like that at one point, very briefly. But overall, it doesn't really like to peak above that. But the whole self-regulation thing, again, I think it's a nice thing. I think it's a nice feature. Keeps your battery safe, keeps your home safe. You don't want to catch on fire. That's a huge deal, especially if you have to go to the hospital and you die. But the thing that really grinds my gear is going to be the display. For a device that cost $800, I would expect them to not cheap out on the display. And I honestly feel like they cheaped out on the display. So you can power the device on to see the status of the battery. You could also power on the AC input or the output, the DC output, and you can power on the USB. So this is all well and good. And by the way, USB charging, it's like the fastest thing on this entire thing. The problem I have with the display on this battery is that it gives you 0 numbers at all. You have a bar to show how many bars of battery you have. Goes in increments of 20%, I would imagine. But you don't have, 55% or 42%. No, you have bars. You have no idea how long you have. There's no estimated runtime. Nothing like that. When you plug something in, it doesn't tell you how fast something's charging or how long it's going to take for it to charge up completely. And I especially find this annoying because I have a once a year, huge camping trip, and I took probably 5 batteries out to that camping trip. I was running things like a large stereo, lights, all kinds of things. And every time I went over to there and looked at the battery to see how things are going, I would have a generic idea of how long it would take for that battery to go dry and whether or not I needed to drag the generator plug over to it to charge it up. So I made heavy use of the percentages, the times, estimated times that display on every device that I have reviewed so far. This thing just doesn't do that. You plug it in. How fast is it charging? I have no idea. How fast is it discharging? How many watts are you using? No clue. Just 0 information. If I personally was going through different options for a backup battery supply, and this was the same price, same specs, same performance as the competitor, but the competitor had a screen that actually gave you information about what the battery is doing, charging, discharging, etc., I would choose the screen over this one any day. In fact, I would probably pay $100 more just to have the screen so I have information about what the status of my battery is. I know that sounds petty, but it's seriously, like when you're out there and you're actually trying to do things and judge how long you have before you need to do something, it really helps. I love the design. It's black, it's rugged, it's got these nice little handles. You can pick it up from either one or both of them. I'm sure that if I had 2 of them, I could probably stack them if I wanted to. I mean, overall, I do like the design. I just don't like the screen. And I really just wish they would have made that a little bit better. Now, of course, you do have your standard 12-volt out. So if you want to plug in any kind of car accessories, you could do that as well. You have the DC out, which is, just going to allow you to, I've never actually used that for anything, but there's like certain camping lights and things that run off 12 volt that you can plug into that. So to each their own. As far as the inputs, you do have the DC in, and then I don't know what this is called, but it's a different port. You can plug it in that way. That's what you would use with like your solar charger. Also, it does come with a car charger. So if you want to plug in the car charger right here, charge this off your car, you can absolutely do that as well. Which brings me to the charging. Okay, the charging is another reason why I would probably recommend a different battery. You see, being able to charge faster than what you're consuming, especially during like the day at a campsite. You have fridges, you got whatever it is you're running at a campsite during the day. You want your battery to not only be able to take a charge, but also power those devices, like fridges. Hi, Luna. Hi. How was your trip? How was your trip? Oh, did you have fun? Did you have fun? Come on. No, that was it. That's all I got. It's just a little. Oh, he's a good girl. Such a good girl. Sorry. But when it comes to charging, you would always expect the best possible charging ability from the AC plug that they send you. Unfortunately, that's not true. You see, this thing can charge at 200 watts, theoretical maximum off of solar power. But The charger that they send you with the AC plug has a maximum output of 117 watts, which means that if you use this, plug into your wall, which should ultimately be the fastest charging possibility, you're going to be able to charge this from 0 to 100 in roughly around 10 hours. Now you can cut that charge down time to about 6 to 8 hours if you're using solar panels, again, depending on, if your solar panels are actually hitting 200 watts or not, but 10 hours to charge this thing with this dinky little power supply that they gave you. I guess, yes, hypothetically, I could use a different charger from a different device. I could crank it up a little bit. I can add a little bit more wattage, plug it into the DC port, etc., and I could get better charging rates. But if you're buying this out of the box and this is the only one that you have, you just have to acknowledge that the charging rate is very low. So to me, I feel like that's two very big things against this that really makes it less usable, just because it charges slow. If you're running something during the day, like a refrigerator or two to keep your beer cold, and you want to be able to charge up your battery and have battery left over during the night, for things like camp lights, bug zappers, etc., you need something that charges faster. You need something that when the sun goes down, this thing is going to be as close to, if not 100% and ready for the night. Ultimately, I do respect the battery for what it is. Anything under 1000 watts, it handles flawlessly. It has a pretty decent battery capacity. You could do a lot of things with it, especially if you're only charging phones or running some basic camp lights. This thing's gonna last you for days out on a campsite. If you wanna run a coffee pot maker, you better hope it's kind of a small one, because those can peak over 1000 and you might not be able to run it very long. But the inherent flaws with the limited display options that come with this battery, the very slow charging capacity that it has, just makes me think, is it really worth the price tag? Because for $700 or $800, there are a lot of other options out there that they charge faster, they have, better peaking wattages, and they actually handle, higher power devices a lot better before they shut down. So in conclusion, hey, if you want to drop $700, $800 on something that charges slow and that doesn't really matter to you, you just want backup power, this might be an option for you. It looks rugged, it's easy to stack, and overall, it's a sexy looking battery. But if you're looking for something that's gonna keep up with you and what you're doing and charge throughout the day and be ready for that all night partying fiasco that you're planning at the campsite, this may not be your solution. So guys, I will absolutely link to this in the description down below. They're Amazon affiliate links. If you want to check it out, get up-to-date pricing, a few more technical specs, you can see all of that through the Amazon link. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post those in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.